Man, it has been a while. Making a vlog and haven't made a vlog in like a year. So excuse me if I sound like an idiot, which I'm sure I will. But now I have a new and improved camera and mic set up, but that is not the topic of today's video. Today we'll be talking about my R1 and the engine rebuild I did, why I did it, and blah 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 blah. Alrighty, so I gotta start by giving you guys some history on it. So you know why I did the engine rebuild, what was going on, yada yada yada. Start off, I have a 2009 Yamaha R1, which now has 95,000 miles, something close to that. When I got it from my brother with 85,000 miles on it. And when I first got it, I did, you know, the basics. I did a full service, I did a valve adjustment because he told me it needed it. And along with that, I did some upgrades like caliper brake lines, replaced the brake pads, new air filter, you know, the basics. And it was great. I love the bike, blah blah blah. Didn't seem to have any issues. And then I started working at JP Motorsports, which is where I'm leaving right now actually. And I brought it in to do something. I think it was like a chain service or something. And my techs were around looking at it and they're like, man, why is your bike ticking? Like, it's making this weird ticking noise. And I was like, what? It's not making a ticking noise. No, it's fine. Next thing you know, one of my techs got on the bike and he, you know, felt it, trying to see what was going on. And he told me I had a cracked valve. And I was like, nah, no way, a cracked valve. Nah, this bike's been taken well care of. So I ended up doing a compression test and found that I had 30 psi in one of the cylinders. So, you know, indication something's going on. And I've got pictures and some video for reference, which I'll be including in this video so you can check it out. But, so after the compression test, we basically tore it apart. And figured it had, most likely had something to do with the valves, of course, you know. So once we got it all apart, I'll show you a picture of the head and you can see the valve. It's totally cracked. It's an exhaust valve. Along with that, all of the exhaust valves were all burnt up. Yeah, this way. So yeah, all the exhaust valves were all burnt up, and so I figured, okay, so I need to do head work, need new valves. It ended up being cheaper to just get a used head off eBay. It was off of like a 2010 R1 with, you know, 20,000 miles. So I got that new head, got that, I did a valve job on that, not an adjustment, but an actual valve job. So cut the seats, all that. And the reason being is that along with my exhaust valves on my current head, or my old head, along with the exhaust valves being fucked up, the valve seats were also super fucked up, like to the point where trying to seat them and cut it would have just taken off just a lot of material. Anyway, so the recommendation was to get a used head, so that's what I did. It was like 250 bucks, which was even cheaper than getting exhaust valves and all that. The next step was, okay, well, hey, here I am doing the head work with, you know, 90,000 miles on it. Do I want to do the bottom end too? I'm doing the top end, you know? And after talking with other people, some people said, yes, do it. Some people said, oh, it's not necessary. Yamahas are great. Your crank bearings are fine. No worries, blah, blah, blah. And I figured, fuck it. I'm already here doing the head work. Might as well get down to the valve, or get down to the crank. So next thing you know, I got, you know, new piston rings, all that stuff. New plain bearings, every single O-ring, every gasket, brand new. I did the work myself too. Probably took me, gosh, 3 months or so. It took me quite a while, and I love that because I was learning, you know. It was my first time doing a freaking engine rebuild. I'd never done something like that before. But go ahead. And anytime I came across a problem, it was, okay, online research time, let's figure out what the fuck's going on. And man, it was hard, but I'm very, very excited that I got that kind of experience. You know, it's good stuff to know, and I feel like I know my bike better, of course. Took the whole thing apart, like I said, got some video, down to the crank. Everything looked fine. The funny thing is once I got to the main bearings, or the crank bearings and whatnot, I only tested the connecting rod bearings because it was the easiest. I didn't want to put the two cases back together and use plastic gauge to measure the crankshaft bearings, their tolerance. So I just said fuck it, just did the connecting rods just out of curiosity, and they were all within spec, at least the ones I tested. So honestly, my bearings are probably fine. I probably didn't even need to do the bottom end. I scrubbed a bunch of freaking carbon buildup off the piston, which was nice, cleaned that off along with new piston rings, but I didn't really need it, not necessarily. It makes me feel better about it because, hey, I've got 95,000 miles, my bike runs like it's brand new. And then 2 months later, I did a compression test just to make sure I did everything all right. My compression was perfect. They were all almost exactly the same, hovering around 185 PSI. And Yamaha, the manual says 185 to like 220, but you know, there's factors that affect that. Anyways, so that is why I rebuilt it. Like I said, in all reality, I could have gotten away without doing it, considering that, you know, the bearings are fine. So point is, if you take care of your bikes, they last, man. Yeah, it had some head problems, but really wasn't that big of a deal. And honestly, part of it was probably just because the valve adjustments were done too far apart, or they weren't done 100% correctly. Because if you leave too little gap on the for the valves, basically, you're going to cause them to stay open. If they stay open, they don't get a chance to seat on the head. If they don't seat on the head, they don't get a chance to cool down, because it uses the head as a heat sink, causing them to overheat, which is why all my exhaust valves are burnt. But it's funny because I still get a lot of people saying, oh my god, that bike looks like it's brand new, minus the fucking big ass dent in the tank. But I think that's about it. I mean, there's really not too much to tell. I wouldn't attempt doing it. Oh, there was one problem I ran into on the connecting rods. You know, you're supposed to replace the bolts because they're stretch bolts and whatnot. So I replaced the bolts, and I didn't know that torque wrenches, digital torque wrenches, have a angle sensor, or like can tell you like how much angle how far you're rotating it, and it tells you the degree. So on the connecting rod bolt, it's supposed to be like 150 degrees after you torque it down to like 30 foot-pounds or something like that. And so, in the Yamaha service manual, it shows you just using a fucking Sharpie and marking it, and then using a wrench just as best as you can. And it was hard to like match it up. Like, you can barely see the line, and I didn't feel too confident about that part of it. And then after I was all done, I found out, oh hey, there's a digital torque wrench that tells you exactly which degree you're at. I'm like, great, that would have been awesome. But you know, it is what it is. A couple people told me I should take it back apart and fucking redo it because of that, but there's no way I was gonna do that shit again. Fuck that. My homie John, who has my R6 right now, or my old bike, he bought it from me. He fucking super big help. I kind of got all the parts organized, got things ready, got torque specs, then he did a lot of the work, put on the headers and all that. So big shout out to him. He's a cool guy, and he just got a new bike, so you'll be seeing that bike soon along with the R6. And that about concludes this video. Stay tuned because I just got a Graves full system exhaust. I got it used, so I'm cleaning it. I'm gonna show installation, how it sounds before and after, fun stuff like that. And I think that's about it. Let's see if I can think of anything else. If I was to redo it all over again, first of all, I would have just done the head, most likely, because the crank was fine. But let's say if my crank was bad, dude, I would have just gotten just a used engine off eBay. They're selling them for like 1,500 bucks with like, what, 5,000 miles? Yeah, I guess you can't verify some of that information. There's some risk associated with it, I get that. But if you can find the right deal and whatnot, it would just be so much easier. And let's say if you're having a shop doing it, dude, rebuilding an engine is expensive as hell. It's like $2 grand, something along those lines. Along with the $1,000 worth of parts, you're looking at $3 grand, whereas you could spend 1,500 bucks on a used engine, either slap it in yourself or pay someone 800 bucks to put it in. So that's my 2 cents on it. I don't regret what I did. Like I said, I learned a lot, and it helped me do my job better working at a motorcycle shop because I understand things better now. But never again. Never again. Well, that concludes this video, my friends. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I sound like an idiot, because I'm trying to get back into the flow of things. Stay tuned. I'm going to be trying to post more now. My kid's getting older. I got some more free time and all that. And that's it. Subscribe, guys. I'd appreciate it.